make their career in pharmacy research. Welcome, ma'am, to our webinar series, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Now I invite our principal, Dr. Chanchal Kaur, ma'am, for the opening note and the remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, everybody. I welcome you all on this auspicious occasion in which we are going to start our webinar series by the name We Talk. And I am very glad to say that we have with us Professor V. Kusum Devi ma'am, who is Professor and Principal at Sri Nitte College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Bengaluru, India. I welcome you, ma'am, and we are glad to see that in this series, today is our first webinar, which will be do's and don'ts for attaining research goals in pharmacy. We have started this webinar series with the aim that we want our students to know what are the difficulties they will be facing in pharmacy during their research, then how can they overcome those difficulties, what are the ways in which they can prepare the research protocol, then what is the importance of preparing research protocol, and what are the ways by which they will be getting the research grants. In this way, we will be dealing all these problems in today's session with our respected ma'am. And from this platform, as this is a virtual platform, I welcome each and every person who is present here on behalf of Sri Rawatpura Sarkar Group of Institutions. And I am part of Sri Rawatpura Sarkar Institute of Pharmacy, Kumhari Durg, and it is in Chhattisgarh, India. We have B Pharm, D Pharm, M Pharm, as well as PhD courses, and we have research center. And I am very glad to say that we are getting this opportunity to listen to respected Professor V. Kusum Devi ma'am and to interact with ma'am. So I request all the people who have joined here, you please listen to the presentation that ma'am is going to deliver, as well as in the end we will be having a discussion session. That is very important, so that if any queries are left, then in that session you could openly ask with ma'am and you can have this queries. And I am glad to see that ma'am, we are live not only in YouTube, we have a YouTube channel named as SRIC Edu Pharma, and also I welcome each and every person who has joined live in that channel. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Now over to Dr. Anshita Gupta ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think due to some technical issues, might be director sir is not present here. So before not wasting much of the time, I'm taking the privilege to invite our distinguished speaker. But before that, I'd like to introduce herself to all of you. Dr. V. Kusum Devi ma'am is one of the leading lady in the field of pharmacy research and academics. She remained throughout meritorious student, first rank holder in B Form and M Form from Bengaluru University. She did her PhD from Bengaluru University itself in the year 2000. Her area of research is the crossroad of nanotechnology and novel drug delivery system. Ma'am vision is to create students of excellent caliber so that they can become successful entrepreneur of pharmacy professional. Ma'am has to credit several awards and honors. Few of them include Sri G.P. Nair Award, Karnataka State Awards, Woman of Excellence Award, etc. She has received research grants from various organizations like DST, AICD, ICMR, Delhi Pharmaceutical Trust, CSIR, IPA. The list is very long. Other than academics, she has also served various positions like consultant, subject expert, for Canadian pharma multinational Abbott Laboratories with respect to their patent infringement matters. Ma'am has to her credit 91 national and international publication, 2 patents, and has authored 4 books. Word find limits to describe such a great personality. So, with these words, I most respectfully invite our eminent speaker, Dr. Kusum Devi ma'am, for her presentation. Ma'am, please.
Good morning to all of you all. Thank you, Dr. Anshita Gupta,
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
giving such a lovely introduction to me. Well, I have just done my duty. There's nothing too much about it. And thank you, Principal Ma'am, for starting this beautiful series of BTalk group of webinars and inviting me as the first speaker of the series. So, a very pleasant morning to all of you all. It's a very beautiful day in Bangalore. I think it's the same out there in your place as well, Chhattisgarh. So, at the outset, I would like to acknowledge all the efforts which have been put in by the organizers, headed by Dr. Chanchal Kaur, the principal of Sri Rawatpura Sarkar Institute of Pharmacy, in conceptualizing and arranging this e-talk series of events. I'm honored to be invited as the first speaker of this series. And I'm definitely happy to share my learnings of the stated topic with the audience. So, on the topic of my presentation today is research goals. But before I go into the topic, I would like to take this opportunity to tell a few words about the institution with which principle of the pharmaceutical sciences under Nitte Education Trust. So Nitte Education Trust has been started or founded by the Honorable Justice K.S. Hegde, who was ex-Lok Sabha Speaker and ex-Supreme Court Judge. And for your information, I would like to tell you that Nitte Education Trust started with just one school with 8 students. And the founder, Sri K.S. Hegde, started it so that he did not want to see school children, very small school children, walking several miles to attend school. So that is the reason, or that is the vision with which this Nitte Education Trust started as early as 1979. Today, Nitte Education Trust has around 40 institutions under it. It has a deemed to be university, that is the Nitte University. It has got 3 where all the 40 institutions are accredited: medical college, a dental college, engineering college, with several branches, fashion technology institute, to name some of the institutions under the Nitte group. So Nitte College of Pharmaceutical Sciences has been initiated or started in the year 2018, for which I am heading it as the principal. Under this Nitte group of institutions, there's yet another pharmacy college, namely Nitte Gulabi Shetty Memorial Institute of Pharmacy, which is located in the Mangalore campus, and that is 25 years old. At this point, I would like to tell you that Nitte group of institutions has got several accolades to their credit. It is rated or ranked as one of the best universities in Asia, India, and the university has got NAC A plus grade. It has got a diamond grade to its credit. Even the pharmacy colleges under Nitte have several recognitions such as it's recognized by the Pharmacy Council of India, AICTE, then Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, and the prestigious NIRF ranking of 49 is to our pharmacy college credit. So I'm very happy to be heading the pharmacy college under Nitte Educational Trust as its principal. So I'm very happy to introduce all this to my audience. And thank you once again, organizers, for providing me the opportunity to do so. Then, so now let us start with the presentation. Start with the presentation topic, how to achieve research goals in pharmacy, the do's and don'ts. So all the do's and don'ts I have understood personally on the basis of my exposure to the research in pharmacy over these last few years. I'm really happy to share it with my fellow colleagues and budding pharmacists and students. Now I'll just start with my presentation. So the topic of my mainly in pharmacy and the most important aspect in any research study is obviously the selection of the research topic. So how does one choose a research topic? A lot of thought should go in for you to select a research topic, or else it would be very difficult for you to carry out your study if you do not choose the right research topic. So you should spend a lot of time choosing the right research topic. So how? There are different methods or different pointers on the basis of which you can select your research topic. Some of them I have listed here. So it could be on the basis of your own professional interests. Like some people already know about the profession in which they are actually involved in. So you have something in your mind. So you can start doing research in that topic, in that area. Okay, now you probably do not have anything in your mind. Then how would you select a research topic? And you have a keen interest in research. How would you do it? Then you can discuss with the fellow faculty members, fellow students, if the student is actually carrying out or doing a research or wanting to do a research study. And you have a plethora of scientific journals today, which are so easily available. So the scientific journals give you an idea of what kind of work is needed and what kind of work is going on presently. So be sure to refer the scientific journals which are current. So please do not go to old journals, at least at the point of time when you are selecting a research topic. Then we have database search. We have dissertations of previous research works which have been done. It is available in your own college library. It is available in other institutions' library. And it is also available in central institutions like the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. You have similar institutes in your place as well. What is oral defense? Oral defense is, I'm sure, all of you would have attended the presentation of research studies done by PhD scholars as well as postgraduate scholars. When you attended, you pay a keen attention to what they are telling, understand, and then you can get an unanswered question in the work in which they have done. You can take this unanswered question and start working on it, and that will be the topic of your research study. Then current theories which keep coming in popular magazines, newspapers, etc. You can apply pharmacy to the current theory and come out with a research topic or a research study. Then the internet, where you get a lot of news. And now today, COVID is the dreadful pandemic where nobody can escape from it. All right. So you can do something in this particular COVID area, and pharmacists are doing a lot of work in COVID area, and they're actually, as you know, the theme of the current pharmacy week is the pharmacist as the frontline health worker. So you can do something, you can come out with a formulation, you can come out with a target area, you can do anything in COVID, and it just to be grabbed. I feel like using the word grabbed because so many people are suffering from COVID. And we always have conferences, seminars which you have to attend in your area of interest and formulate your own research topic. And by the word outside agencies, I mean there are several granting agencies, right? So you can go to or you can have a granting agency. Sorry, I'll just come back to the previous slide. Sorry, agencies I mean is the granting agencies. Several granting agencies, international state level agencies who offer funding for your research. And by getting a funding for your research, it's not only that you're getting finance, it's actually a matter of honor. Okay, so the organizations or the funding agencies deem that your research work is fit to get funding. Okay, and needless to say, if you have funding, you can really work on your with a lot of. Okay, I will give you an idea of research organizations or institutions which offer funding for research work later on in the presentation. If anybody has a doubt, kindly put in the message box. Okay, we can address all the questions in the end. Now, something about the different areas of research in pharmacy. And since obviously my research area is pharmaceutics, all my areas will be related to pharmaceutics. You can work on dosage forms, you can work on diseases. What I have listed here in dosage forms is solid dosage forms, liquid dosage forms, semi-solid dosage forms. All of these are conventional dosage forms, but don't disregard them. These are the dosage forms for which majority of the active pharmaceutical active pharmaceutical substances are given as, isn't it? Your novel drug delivery system comes later on. First, when an active pharmaceutical ingredient is discovered, is found out, first you have to give it as a solid dosage form, a tablet. 99.9% of all APIs are available as solids or as tablets. So you come out with a tablet which has some other additional advantage than a conventional tablet. The industry will just be waiting to take your research. A tablet, you can do it anywhere. You have a tablet machine in your institution. Your madam principal has told me that it is a PhD level institution. So obviously something like a tablet machine will definitely be there. Work on tablets and getting tablets reproducibly so that the industry will take it up is a very big challenge even today, and it is enormous possibilities. Okay, so you can work on tablets, you can work on liquid dosage forms, you can work on semi-solid dosage forms. Whatever I said about tablets applies to liquids as well as semi-solids. And obviously you people know that depending on the API, you select the dose which is suitable. Then you can work on diseases. There are different therapeutic classes of drugs. You select some area which is of your interest and which is the focus of research of the granting agency. It could be cancer therapeutics, it could be COVID pandemic, it could be AIDS issue, it could be lifestyle diseases like blood pressure, diabetes. You pick an area like I said, which is a focus of the granting agency as well as your own interest, and start working on it. Then NDDS. So from tablets, you can go to nanoparticles, isn't it? There's nobody to stop you. There's a high depth of research potential in novel drug delivery systems. So what do you mean by novel drug delivery systems? Novel. The word novel is very, very important in novel drug delivery systems. So what do I mean by this? Novel means it should be new and it should be feasible. It should not be a paper in a journal. It should be the benefit from your delivery system should be tangible. The industry should be able to adopt it. Okay, it should be feasible. It should be workable, not only new. Okay, please remember this. Don't work something which is of a high level of research, which you can only put it in a paper, okay, which cannot be reproduced easily. Please remember this when you're working in the area of novel drug delivery systems. Then you can work on physicochemical properties. You can improve the solubility, stability, dissolution. See, if you're able to improve the solubility or if you're able to increase the stability, very little, even then, it is a great advancement in the field in which you're working. So say a substance is soluble to an extent of 0.1 milligrams in per ml of an aqueous solute. Increase it to 0.15. Believe me, you have brought about an enormous increase in the salt. So that is it is a small thing, but it is not small again. You can take it up as your postgraduate research topic. The same goes for stability. Solubility is related to dissolution, and as you know, dissolution, whatever dosage form you do, it should dissolve in the biological system. It should be available in the biological system. It could be a very attractive dosage form, but then if it does not break, it does not dissolve, it's all lost. Your study is useless. Please pay attention to these very important and essential parameters such as solubility, stability, dissolution, absorption, okay, in vitro absorption, ex vivo absorption, and one aspect of it can also work out as a topic of your research. Then one very important area is excipients. Okay, excipients, you keep so many excipients are going on being discovered in the way of polymers, surfactants, stabilizers. Take whichever excipient interests you, you exploit that polymer, you analyze that polymer, you study in depth with that polymer, and if you're lucky, you can develop a platform technology based only on that polymer. What do I mean by platform technology? A technology where this polymer has been extensively studied and it can be applied to all drugs which have sparing solubility. So anybody in the area of pharmacy has solubility issues, they will refer to your platform technology where you have extensively worked on a polymer which can be used or which can be used to encapsulate your drug, embed your drug, and the solubility increases. Okay, has got enormous patented possibilities. And if you an excipient like this, I think your life is only made. Okay, so it is as good as it has got that much potential. Okay, targeted drug delivery, ultimate in novel drug delivery. Just imagine you come out with a targeted drug delivery system that is a dosage form which you administer to the biological system. It goes only to the area where it starts acting. It does not go to unrequired areas, hence there are no side effects. So this represents a very high level of research work. And if your bent of mind is to go into high level of research, targeted drug delivery system is the area of research for you. Okay. And even if tablets of the said API is available, you can always work on with the targeted drug delivery system of an API the tablet is available. Okay, so that means so much of areas are available for you to work on. Then you can also work on mathematical. If the maths excites you, you can work on mechanism of drug release. Already we have matrix, you have a reservoir, we have diffusion, we have dissolution. You once you come out or you design and formulate a particular drug delivery system, you can find out what is the mechanism of drug release. In case you find out a different mechanism of drug release, that will be remembered in literature. It can be documented in literature. Obviously, you have to prove it and reprove it. Okay. In one of my research work, I was working on transdermal drug delivery. So I found out a equation, mathematical equation drug molecules. You will know or you will be able to decide whether you can make a transdermal drug delivery system of the API. So before you start working only, you will be able to understand whether you will be able, you can make it into a drug delivery system. Then you have herbal dosage forms. Herbal dosage forms are a thing of the past and it is very much required for the present as well. You would have seen a lot of these, what do you call, Ayurvedic preparations, herbs which are in your backyard, in your garden, which are immunity boosters. So whatever herbs, they have to be given or administered to the patients as dosage forms. You can come out with these dosage forms. And you can also work in the generic area and you can develop or come out with information related to para 4 filing. You, on the basis of all these areas, you will decide the research. Once you decide research study, you will ask these questions. So what are the questions which you, before you finalize? So what are the questions which you want to ask yourself or which you should ask yourself before you finalize the research study? So the first question is whether your research study has a worthwhile question for which there is no answer in literature. The answer is provided through your research book. Then it's worthwhile taking up the research study. If the answer is already there in literature, then you better not take up that research study. Okay, it's already there. It's a waste. You will not get funding from granting agencies. You cannot get publications and patenting potential is practically nil. Okay, so your research study should address a question for which you get an answer at the end of your research work. And one more thing which you should remember is you cannot carry on doing the research for several years. You should have a definite period. That means your methodology and the objectives which you place for your research study should be completed within a reasonable period of time which you have to define beforehand only. Plus or minus, minus is always desirable and it's very much welcome. Plus you keep it as another 6 months and if it is a PhD work, 1 year. But see that you get it within a reasonable period of time. And your project or the study which you take up should fill a gap in the calendar. It's okay if it is very small. Now, all of us cannot do work for which you get Nobel Prizes. It's fine. Nobel Prize recipients are inspirations for us, isn't it? A small gap is enough. What I mean to say is, your research study should not be a need to, okay? It should not be an extra. People should not say that after listening to your research work, people should not say that, oh, I know this, okay? So that's all I mean to say. So put these questions for your research study and if you're satisfied with the answers to your questions, it's a very good test for you without asking anybody to start your project. Yeah, talking about. That should have a focus. Okay, it should not have too many objectives. right? Depending on the time period which is available to you, you can have a single principal or primary objective and other objectives which are related or which are an add-on of the single objective. And maximum you can have 2 objectives if it's a PhD project. Please don't be too ambitious. Please don't have too many objectives. Then the person who is listening to your work will not know what you're talking about. Okay, remember, the person who's listening to your project has very little time, and the challenge for you is to develop interest from the person who's listening to you, who could be a student, who could be contemporaries, who could be officials from the granting agencies. So you should interest that person within 5 minutes, within 10 minutes. And if you're able to interest that person within 3 minutes, your work is done. You have won your challenge. Okay, so you should be very focused. Obviously, it should be distinct from previous studies. It should contribute to the field which you're investigating. Then adequate literature should be available in the field. Okay, suppose you do not have adequate literature, you should develop this literature. One small example: you're working on an API in pharmacy. Suppose the literature is not adequate. You have only an HPLC method of analyzing the API. So for every work you do, every step you undertake, you need to work on HPLC. So HPLC is a very sophisticated instrument. It may be available in your institute, it may not be available. It would be very beneficial in terms of time and economy if a UV method of analysis is available for the API which you're working on. So you should have literature on the UV method. You will just have literature on HPLC. It's not sufficient. You're just inviting problems for yourself, right? So see that, adequate literature is available. It should be feasible to pursue and it can be completed in a time frame which I have already told you. Now, ultimately, your research work should have a research question embedded in it. Okay? What is this research question? A research question, you have to formulate it yourself. Okay? And when you formulate it yourself, it should pass what is called a final test. What do you mean by the final test? The F in the final test should be feasible. So I'm just, putting in all the points in my previous slides into a nutshell. When I say feasible, or rather, question embedded in your research work should be feasible, it means that your research work should be within your reach, manageable, time free, and affordable. It should not be highly expensive, even if you're getting funding. Please use the funding judiciously. Please use the funding intelligently. Okay? Then it should, the I in the final stands for interesting. It should be interesting, isn't it? Is it interesting? When it's curiosity of the people to. It should be in the beginning. Okay? It should be novel. As I told you, it should be innovative. It should provide new findings, provide alternate explanation to the mechanism of action, mechanism of release, advanced theory, anything. It should be innovative. It should be novel. Okay? It should be ethical. Okay? And it should be approved by your institutional board. Okay? It should be relevant. Right? It should be relevant. People should not be wondering how is it connected to the field of pharmacy? How is it connected to pharmaceutical? How is it connected to APIs? Okay? Please be relevant and it should really further the existing knowledge. Something very close to your research study is your research protocol. So what is the research protocol? A research protocol is a document. How do you describe your research study? How do you put in all the elements which I have just now explained to you about? So it is a risk that you will put in with the help of a research protocol. Isn't it? A research protocol gives you a systematic presentation. All aspects are associated with your research, very organized. So obviously, a research protocol is a document that describes the background, the rationale, objectives, design of the work, methodology, statistical considerations if you want, and the organization of a research project. So I can call it a roadmap for achieving a goal. And the goal is your objective in your research. So that is what is a research protocol. You should follow the research protocol in presenting your research work to funding agencies. So you cannot present it the way you want. You should present it in an organized manner. To present it in an organized manner, you should have a research protocol. What does the research protocol actually do? It describes the study questions and then it gives the background information to the person who is reading the study or who is understanding the study. It also gives the person an idea of the study design and the rationale you have adopted in the study. It defines the target. For example, you want to do a site-specific drug delivery system. So your target is the site specificity. You want to target one part of the GIP. You want to target the colon. That's what your research protocol will tell you. Then it identifies the variables which you want to measure and the outcomes which you want to address or analyze in your research study. And so what? Okay, so what means why are you doing all these variables? Why are you analyzing the outcomes? You should justify on the basis of your findings why you have taken up your research study. So what is very, very important. This gives the person who is understanding your work knowledge about how much command you have on the project which you have undertaken. And this helps in patenting, it helps in publication, it helps in industry acceptance, it helps in funding, it helps in so many things if you're able to justify your facts. The format of the protocol or the confidence of the research. Obviously, you should have a title, explain the need why you're taking up the study. It should give an idea of the literature which you have gone through and the literature which made you take up this project. And from the literature, as well as the need, the objectives of the work, and then you have the methodology, the basis which you will carry out your study, which includes source of data, collection of data, and whether you want to restrict your work to in vitro investigations, ex vivo investigations, preclinical investigations, or clinical investigations. You have to specify it in the beginning itself. Have an exact idea or a plan of your work, which you can present in the protocol. And obviously, you should support all your aspects of your study with references. And references you have to give in the proper style. Please don't give the reference as and how you want. Adopt the Vancouver style, which is very popular, or adopt Harvard style, whichever method you want, you adopt. But don't start with Vancouver, end up with Harvard. Now there are a lot of software which will organize your references in the manner in which you want to organize it. Everything has become easy for you. What we used to take months to do, you can do it in a day today. So please be aware of the developments in your field so as to maximize the benefit of that. As I told you, I can call the title of your project protocol one of the most important aspect of the protocol, because it is through the title which the project is first introduced to the reader. Okay, it is the project title with which the reader gets introduced to first of all. Okay, first instance. So your title should be very, very explanatory. Okay? And needless to say, you should not give a very huge title. The title should be of very, and it should highlight of your. And believe me, to make a title, to use few words is more difficult than making a title which is elaborate. Okay, because in few words, the lesser the words, you're able to highlight your study and the main objective of the study. That's how you have to finalize your title. And please spend some time for formulating the title. Okay. So what all should the title include? It should include the context of the work, the outcome of the work, the impact, important aspects of the strategy adopted. At least these aspects. And if you're able to put in more, if you're able to put in some amount of jargon, but not high level of jargon, to make it exciting, you can do so. Okay. This will, or when you're making the title, it will bring out your creativity. It will bring out your originality. Okay. That is how you should come out with the title. So take some amount of time to formulate a suitable title. Okay. So your title should give the readers, or make understand and readers understand what they are going to expect from the research work, what the reader will learn from the research work, and the components should be selected judiciously, and please use the correct style. Okay, don't unnecessarily use what do you call capital letters, hyphens, commas, things like that. Use them all appropriately. Okay, so there is something called a Goldilocks zone in the title. Okay, so as I told you, the Goldilocks zone is the zone within which the title should come. Right? The project title outside the Goldilocks zone becomes too long. And as I told you, it becomes confusing, and the reader will be wondering what you're trying to tell, and you have lost your game there. And as I emphasized, titles should be our best if they're as short as possible. It's essential to be concise as well as informative. Okay? So I'll tell you what all the titles should not have. Okay, because I already told you what the titles should have. Now I'll tell you what the titles should not have. Okay, it should not describe the main result of the paper. It should not contain too much detail. It should not be too long. It should not be unspecific. It should not contain unnecessarily question marks. You should not have a question mark in your title. It's wrong. Okay, it should not have maybe a hyphen, but but it's preferable not to have, right? Hyphens, colons, sorry, not colons. It should not be too noun heavy. It should not be too adjective heavy. It should not contain unnecessarily filler words. Don't use acronyms. And use a level of jargon, but don't use too much. Okay? And the level of jargon should be, it should be correlated with the target audience. And please adhere to the guidelines. If you're applying to your university, adhere to the guidelines of the university. If you're applying to a granting agency, adhere to the guidelines of the granting agency. Don't just make a title however you want. Before you make the title, understand for what you're making it, and then make it. Now I'm giving you examples of whatever parts of the protocol which I have just told you as the components of the research protocol. The most important, namely the research title. So I have an example here. The example is studies on design and development of dissolvable oral drug delivery systems of a poorly water-soluble, non-steroidal, anti-inflammatory drug. So it's quite a long title. Fine. I have suggested one change for your understanding. It is your duty to go home and add on some more changes, because this is a presentation. It's not a workshop. Okay. So instead of telling design and development, see, it is studies. You can just start on development. Instead of telling this studies on design and development, you can say design and development of dissolvable oral drug delivery systems. What the person wants to say is oro dispersible drug delivery system. Or if you want to be too specific, you can say mouth dissolvable drug delivery systems. Or instead of drug delivery systems, you can say formulations, a single word. Like that. There's a lot of scope to improve this research time. Okay? You use it as a work material, workshop material, and you give it to your students, or students can discuss it among themselves, and you can come out with, you make it as small as possible and send it back to me. That would be good. Okay. Next title is Formulation of colon targeted drug delivery. The type of what is your drug tablets? Is it microparticles? Is it microspheres? And the class of drug is also missing. So the title should be short, but it's not incorrect. So that is what I want to emphasize. Then here you say development of a lipidic drug delivery system for bioavailability improvement of a poorly water soluble antihypertensive drug. You have put in your title bioavailability improvement. That means you want to do preclinical work. Perfect. Suppose you're going to think that you will address the bioavailability issue only with in vitro studies, then you have lost it. Okay, if you're well aware that you are doing preclinical studies or even more clinical studies, then only use the word bioavailability. Okay, there's more improvement in this, but I want to emphasize the word bioavailability. Then we have another title, development and assessment of novel to ocular gels of ketorolac. You should be aware that assessment includes animal studies. That means by using the word assessment, you have indirectly said that you're going to work on animal studies. Right? And instead of telling development, you can replace it with evaluation, you can replace it with characterization, anything. There are several words like that. But most importantly, the word assessment means that you're aware that you're doing the animal. One more title, which is herbal, designing of a polyherbal formulation for a metabolic disorder. What metabolic disorder you're talking about, what polyherbal formulation you're talking about, everything is missing. You have to be specific. You have to give some idea of what formulation you're working, especially when you're talking about herbals, because you include a number of actives. So please be careful when you're working on herbal formulations. Then you're talking, there's another title which says Formulation, Development and Evaluation of Controlled Drug Delivery of Analgesics via Novel Routes. Formulation itself means that you're developing. You don't have to use formulation development. Formulation itself means design, development and preparation, and also probably evaluation. But if you want to emphasize evaluation by going in-depth into evaluation, you can put it evaluation. And today, if formulation includes even optimization studies, so you can just put in that. Now there is something called, which novel route are you working? Novel routes. You have to argue about. This title says that you're going to work all on. Can you? You cannot. A lifetime is required. So please specify the novel route which you want to work on. Then you have formulation and evaluation of sodium enteric-coated tablets using different super disintegrants. It sounds little confusing. It sounds little contradictory. Enteric-coated tablets means delayed release tablets, but you are using the word super disintegrant, which means immediate release. So you can probably put in formulation of pantoprazole sodium tablets and put in the use of super disintegrants as an objective in your. So what the person wants to say here is, he or she wants to make enteric coated tablets, but once the dosage form reaches the stomach or the proper region, or after it passes the gastric region, it should immediately release. So that can be put in as the objective. Right? So I have given you a few titles where I have told you how on different aspects the title should be evaluated before you finalize the title. Okay. Then we go to the next part of the protocol project, the need for the study. The need of the study should be very strong. Okay. This is the first introduction where you say why you are taking up the study. This, when the person reads it, or when the reader reads it, when your audience reads it, they will know whether you have understood the background or you are very superficial about it. Okay, so be very specific with high priority areas. You should identify the high priority area in your research study. and then be specific about it. And you also should explain the connect of your study with the put it aspects in the study. And at the same you before you finalize your need for the study, as I told you, will it generate new knowledge? Will the study benefit patients? Advance understanding or influence regulatory policy? Will it fill the gaps in existing knowledge? Resolve current controversies if there are any? Is it necessary to carry out the project? And finally, you complete your need for the study with what you want to do. In a nutshell, maximum 2 sentences. What do you finally want to do? So the need for the study should be completed with what you want to. Okay. So how do you formulate the need for the study? First, give a background to your topic. On the basis of the review of relevant and up-to-date literature, state what is already known about the topic. Then come out with what is not known about the topic. Mention any, if it's a known topic, mention any weaknesses in the topic and come out with the solution. And mention any gaps in the literature. And from the basis of the literature, come out with the research problem which you have derived and justify the research. And finally, you end it with what you actually want to do. And all this, whatever I have said, should come in 300 words or 500 words. The lesser words you use, the better it is for you. Okay, and some official research, official documents floated by research agencies will tell you exactly the word count. Please do not exceed the word count. Okay, if you exceed the word count, they may not even they may not even read your project protocol. Okay, it loses at that point of time. So please adhere to the word count which is given. That is very important. Okay, and if it is possible, make 1 or 2 words lesser. Right? That is something which you should remember. So one example I'm talking about here, how you make a need for the study. So I'm talking about some nocturnal diseases. The therapeutic area could be asthma and rheumatoid arthritis. Right? I'm telling you how do you prepare a need for the study here. First, discuss about the disease state. Select asthma or select rheumatoid arthritis. Anything. Okay? Whichever you select, you please give a background. Then talk about the current dosage forms available for the selected area. Then talk about the drugs which are available and the dosage forms of the first line drugs. Next, you apply your knowledge which you have gathered through extensive literature read. So one aspect which I can suggest for these nocturnal diseases is chronotherapeutics. What is chronotherapeutics? It refers to a treatment method in which the in vivo drug availability is timed in relation to our body's natural rhythms, that is the circadian rhythm, to produce maximum health benefit. What do I mean by this chronotherapeutics? It means I will take up a research study where I will make a dosage form which releases or which gives just the right amount of the drug at the right time. So you people get asthma attack or a rheumatoid attack, arthritis attack in the early hours of the day. So I will design a drug delivery system where the active drug is released at the time at which I want the drug, time of the attack of rheumatoid arthritis. Add one more condition here, blood pressure. Isn't it? You have heard of heart attacks happening early in the morning. So if the person has some issue like that, make a chronotherapeutic drug delivery system. So what are you doing? You're applying your knowledge on the basis of literature review to a condition by choosing a drug and a dose. So what have I chosen now? I have chosen a time delayed release preparation which addresses the chronotherapeutic requirements of the therapeutic condition which I want to drug which I want to work for the drug which I have said. Okay, everything in a nutshell should come in the end of your need for step. Okay, so in the present study, so I have just made it also. In the present study, a tablet or a capsule-based time-release formulations will be developed for the anti-asthmatic drug or rheumatoid drug. And if you have selected the drug also, you can say developed for terbutalin or for rheumatoid arthritis, indomethacin, whatever. The more specific you are, that means the more clearer you are about the study. That is indirectly giving a message to the granting agencies that you're very clear. You have done a lot of background work. Okay, if you say selected anti-asthmatic drug, it gives you a direct indication that you're still not clear about your work. Okay, please be specific. So you may not, you can do some preliminary studies also, practical studies.
Maybe due to some technical reasons, ma'am has left. She will again rejoin. Hope you all are liking the presentation. Ma'am has dealt with so many important key areas of research. So I think if you have any queries, you can just write in the chat box. We will ask with ma'am. We will be having discussion with ma'am. Just give 2 minutes. She will again rejoin us. So by the time ma'am is joining, if you want to ask, you can ask few questions. I can see one question. Can you explain what is patent related work? So, dear students, I just want to say that we have patent. We can apply for the patent in India as well as in the international platform. Okay, in other countries also. And for patent, especially, your work should be novel, non-obvious, and should have commercial and industrial applicability. That is the important criteria under which your research work should fall. Okay, and one more important thing that I want to say is, if you are selecting any topic and if you have novelty of that topic, then before going for any sort of publication, you just select your portion and you apply for provisional specification of patent, so that that portion of the work is registered by your name in the priority art, and within 1 year then you can further apply for the complete specification. Okay, so I think your this question I have answered, uh, that you have asked, can you explain what is patent related work? Next question is, what are the fundamental ground level problems faced by new researchers? According to me, the main fundamental problems that generally people face is, we don't do proper literature survey. We just do some of the literature survey we do, and we don't do go for patent searching. That is why some of the topics are repeated. Okay, so what we have to avoid is, we don't have to repeat the topic, and we should see that there should be some outcome, and it should be beneficial for the society when we are selecting the topic, and it should have some commercial applicability also. Like if you are doing any research work and it is not uh, applicable for the society, or if it cannot be converted to industrial work, then I don't think so that just doing academic research work is, I don't think so, beneficial in now current scenario. We should go for we should select the topics which have some industrial applicability. That is important. And another important thing is when you have asked related to the ground level problems, in that I just wanted to say that plan properly your work. And as you all know that in Shodh Ganga thesis is available, so you see that your work is not repeated, like you are not doing any work which has already been done. So if you search properly, then only you go for some topic, otherwise it will be waste of your research. That is very important according to me. Okay, can we refile after expiration of patent? Yes, if your patent is expired, like if you have submitted provisional specification, but you have not submitted complete specification within 1 year, then that will be expired. So what you have to do is, with the same title, with the same thing, you cannot refile. You will have to change the title, you have to reframe your abstract that you had submitted, and then you can again file. And I think if you have completed your work, then go for complete specification instead of just filing provisional specification. Generally we file provisional specification because we want to book our topic. We want to mm, uh, as we know that if we if we get the number and like patent registration number, if we get it after that, if we submit complete specification, then that will be registered in our name. That is why we generally suggest students to go for provisional specification. Okay, so any other question, please? Anybody else, if wants to ask, you can ask. Yes. Okay, due to some technical reasons, ma'am had left, but she is again rejoining. We have contacted her. Ma'am, another question is how we can make our research environment better. So according to me, we can make research environment better by cooperating with each other, by having a atmosphere in which each and every person works in good brotherly atmosphere, helping each other. I think ma'am has rejoined. Welcome, ma'am. Maybe due to some technical issues, you had left from the meeting. You can, ma'am, please reconnect your presentation. Okay, welcome, ma'am. Please
Yeah.
continue. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. I hope I think I can just continue from the point which I left off.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can continue.
Yes, ma'am. So I was talking about the specific objectives which can be interrelated to the primary objective. It could, so one of the specific objective in continuation could be to determine the mechanism of drug release, or you can work on the stability if there is a stability issue, in vivo pharmacokinetic or bioavailability studies. So all these are examples of the specific objective which are connected or related to your primary objective. Then comes the materials and the methods. Right? Materials and methods is the manner in which you collect your data, either by literature review or by actually conducting lab-based studies. You can even get your information from reported data, which the slide has told you about, bioavailability, pharmacokinetic data, so on and so on. Then you can even work on experimental data or experimental data. Okay, so this includes the data obtained from the results of your experiments as well as instrumental data, so data from software applications, so on and so on. Nowadays, please pay attention. You don't have to do a lot of work in the lab. Please find out a software application which is suitable for your research study. Apply it, maximize the use of softwares, and come out with your results. Okay? So what I need to emphasize here is keep on going in depth into your research study. That gives you the superiority of your. So this is a compilation of the collection of data. You can organize the data which you collect on the basis of physicochemical properties, pre-formulation studies, and formulations. I think you're aware of what a pre-formulation study is about, then physicochemical studies are all about, and the methodology. In vitro characterization, curve fitting analysis. So your methodology should include in what way will you in vitro characterize it? What your specific objective will be in vitro characterization. But what is the method you use to carry out this in vitro characterization? And what are the parameters you will do in the in vitro characterization? These are a few examples of your in vitro characterization. And the same thing goes for all the other aspects or other methods as well. Next is, as I told you, what is the level of your evaluation? Right? Is it like ex vivo? Is it in vitro, ex vivo, in vivo? So if it is in vivo, please deal with it separately. Okay? That's the question. So if it is an in vivo, it should be presented in this format. A suitable format for presentation of your in vivo, proposed in vivo study would be like, what's your aim? What are the animal models you're going to select? The animals you're going to select, and the model, if it's a dynamic study, which you have to select. The number of groups, please keep in your mind the statistical significance which you have to keep. Then explain the procedure. Then you explain the analytics which you want to do with your animal studies. What are parameters you finally want to add in as your results or display as your results, Cmax, Tmax, connected to your objectives, connected to your title, connected to your focus, and please mention the software. Then you have to get ethical clearance. Please don't forget this. Okay? Please don't carry out any study without ethics clearance. It will be viewed very seriously by the granting agency. Then references. The rest of my presentation is about the references. So since I'll be sharing my presentation, I have given you the format in which the references can be cited. If it is a book reference, it is a conference paper in a published in which the proceedings of the conference are published. If it's a journal article, if it is electronic media, and journal article in an electronic media, if it's a computer file, if it's a website. So that's it. Now I come to the end of my presentation, and I don't think it's nice or appropriate to keep on, going on. So in a nutshell, I have told you how a research project could be conceptualized, worked on, and presented. And at this point of time, I would like to acknowledge the people who have helped me in preparation of this presentation. One is Dr. C. Narendra, who's my professional colleague and at present is a professor in Vishveshwarapura Institute of College of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Another madam is my professional colleague in the same college, namely Dr. Gupta, who's a professor in Nitte College of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Another madam is a very young and a budding researcher, namely Assistant Professor Sirisha Madam, who has helped me in my presentation. So with this, I have come to the presentation, Madam. Hope it was of information to you, and I hope you got whatever or your idea has been translated into a suitable presentation. Thank you for one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. The presentation was really very informative for all of us, and it really represented how we can achieve our research goal in pharmacy. We are having. I request everyone to please mute their mics. Ma'am, we are having some questions that we have got, and I have also dropped in the chat box. Ma'am, one of the question that has came to me.
Excuse me, Anshita, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. You please do stop presenting portion you do so that we can see you. Yeah.
Stop.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah.
And continue, Anshita, ma'am.
Yes. Ma'am, one question is there that are there any private organization where we can apply for the grants?
Yeah, private organizations are there. These private organizations would be specific to your state or to your city. Like it could be to your region, it could be for a particular community, or it could be for a particular disease. So you have to find out the private organizations which are available in your region. Okay? So community organizations which have this research bent of mind are definitely available. Fine?
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, one more question is there from our scholar that is there any difference between characterization and evaluation of the drug delivery system, or both the things are the same?
Well, it's not the same, but they're related to each other. So characterization is to characterize the drug delivery system. Examples of characterization would be the particle size, the zeta. I'm talking about a nanoparticular drug delivery system, it could be the particle size, it could be the zeta potential, it could be characterizing it by DSC, EEM, SEM. So these are all characterization studies. Evaluation would be the evaluation of the drug delivery system, such as the physical, as the the physical chemical parameters such as the mechanism of drug release, or first of all, what is the rate of drug release, the mechanism of permeation, amount of drug which is permeated. Those are all evaluations. Is it clear? Good.
Ma'am, one more question is there from what are the scopes and research opportunities for women working in pharma research field?
Yes, there is, like always, women are always privileged, isn't it? So let us make use of our privileges, right? So even the granting agencies have understood the importance of women. So one example I can tell you about is Department of Science and Technology. So Department of Science and Technology has got several specific schemes for women scientists. One specific scheme is the Women Scientist Award and Scholarship or Women Scientist Grant. And this provides a very good grant for women who have discontinued their job, who have discontinued their research work. They can get back into research work. So women have many responsibilities. So some of us might find it a little difficult. So it might become necessary that you your job, you discuss study, you can come back through this women's scholarship. Okay, and this women's scholarship gives you funding to undertake a research work, plus it gives you scholarship. In the sense, it gives you a stipend. And today I'm not really clear as to how much the stipend is. Just a few years back, one women scholar worked under me, and she was getting a handsome stipend of 1,000 per month. And even today, a month is more than the starting salary student professionals. So advantages, the women scholar can such work undisturbed and the women scholar gets funded. Right? So it comes out excellently. Such schemes are available. And even there are regional organizations under the Department of Science and Technology. One regional organization which is operational in Karnataka is VGST, Vision Group in Science and Technology. Such regional groups are very much there in your state, in your place also. Please out around and come. And you can get it from the Google search itself. It's not at all difficult. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was very informative and fruitful interaction from all of us, I think, and I really thank you, ma'am, for taking so much of pain and giving us time for giving such an informative talk. And for vote of thanks, now I would like to request Asavarma, ma'am, to please present vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, one and all. On behalf of the Rawatpura Sarkar Institute of Pharmacy, I, Astha Verma, feel privileged to thank our eminent speaker of today's webinar, Professor B. Kusum Devi, ma'am, from Nitte College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Bengaluru, for enlightening us with informative session and giving us opportunity to know, learn, explore, and earn knowledge on different prospects of research skills in detail. Thank you, ma'am, for acquainting us with focused step-by-step procedure which one should consider during carrying out research work in delivery system or any other aspects of pharmacy. I am also thankful to all the faculties, research scholars, students for their active participation. With these warm words, we move to the end of today's webinar. Thank you very much, ma'am.
So thank you, all of you all. I take this opportunity to welcome you people. When you come to Bangalore, please let me know. Please come to our group of institutions. Please interact with our faculty. Look at the facilities which are available here. You can even use the facilities. Okay? I welcome you. Please do come. Organize a trip also and come. And we have 2 pharmacy institutions. So I can extend an invitation on behalf of the other pharmacy college as well. Okay? Please do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, each and everybody.
Yes.
Okay. Now we end our session. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Bye, madam.
Thank you.